Everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at the economic abattoir that is rural America as mass layoffs continue to sweep across the country, especially the rural parts of America during this holiday season.
Just announced by Ford this afternoon, the company converting the battery plant in Glendale, Kentucky to produce a new product there, and jobs are expected to be impacted. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Doug Proffitt. According to Bloomberg News, the plant's 1,600 workers will be laid off during the conversion. In a release today, Ford saying the plant will convert to start making battery-powered storage containers used by data centers, utility companies, and more. Some Kentucky lawmakers are sending statements concerned about the impact on employees. According to Bloomberg, those workers, 1,600, will lose their jobs, but then the company plans to rehire 2,100 workers for the new business focus by 2027. The announcement coming less than a week after that major announcement that the partnership between Ford and South Korean battery maker SK is now ending. In a statement today, Kentucky State Representative Samara Havrin and State Representative Steve Bratcher issuing a joint statement reading in part, "Our focus remains on making sure the men and women whose jobs are impacted by this decision have the support and resources they need to find new employment."
So they're laying off 1,600 people from the Fairfield Ford plant in Kentucky. That's a lot of people in a town of about 9,500. That's about 20 to 21% if you account for the fact that there's already 4.5% of people there that are unemployed. This is a town where the biggest employer used to be the plant, and the next was, of course, the Family Dollar or the Dollar General. Depending on the socioeconomic level of the town, we're guessing Dollar General. But that closes at 7 o'clock because things get a little bit weird in sundown towns. 1,600 people in a town like that is not a small layoff. That is an economic detonation, a controlled detonation. That's like Thanos snapping his fingers and half the town all of a sudden is working at Spirit Halloween. Like I said, that's about 21% of the population now that's not going to have any employment in this small town. That is incredibly depressing. But like I said, we're seeing that all over rural America as we see plant after plant shut down and mass layoffs continue to happen. In this holiday season, nothing's changing. I mean, this is going to change the entire vibe of the town. This is like you go into the town and 1 out of 5 people is like, yeah, I used to work at the Ford plant. And then they stare into kind of the middle distance like a Civil War ghost. Personally, I love Kentucky, but it's rural America, baby. It's flyover state. It's a place the politicians like to talk about like it's a Make-A-Wish kid. Every time they have one of their little homecoming parades, they're always gonna have the politician come by. They're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna bring back jobs, but the jobs aren't coming back. At least they're not gonna come back till 2027, maybe. And what that means is now that 21% of the town, in towns that usually have no jobs to offer, all of a sudden have a huge influx of those who are unemployed, which means people not paying their bills, people not paying their rents, people not paying the mortgages of the people who bought the home so they can rent it out. Right? This destroys the economy of these rural towns. And look, I get it. I get why people are angry about this. Because the sad kind of funny part about this is this is a Trump-heavy country. This district, especially in Kentucky, is very Trump-heavy. I mean, it seeps into everything. It's not just signs on people's yards, right? It's not just, Trump 2028 on the side of a barn as you go by the highway. I mean, like, it's indoctrinated to the kids at this point. I mean, Trump heavy, like, let's go Brandon, carved into the desk of schools heavy. But now the plant's gone. Strange, curious, interesting. Kind of strange timing, really. Maybe, just maybe, for a town that's dependent on foreign import for their plant, maybe it wasn't a good idea to vote for the guy who's going to nerf the auto industry with tariffs. It's just a bad move, really. Just throwing that out there. Maybe slapping tariffs on steel and parts that you need to run your plant, and then acting shocked when the plant goes under and everyone loses their job. Maybe that's something you should have saw coming just a little bit. But no, when you talk to people, and I can't wait for the interviews to come out because the blame is not going to be put where it probably should go. It's always something else. It's always immigrants. It's always China. It's always Mexico. It's always drag queens, story hour, probably in Louisville somewhere, pissing people off in a rural town of 9,500. Or whatever the Fox News dartboard of grievances landed on that morning. Who knows? Meanwhile, you got 1,600 people who are going to be sitting at home over the holidays saying, are we still built Ford tough or we just built Ford briefly? This is the cycle of the rural American town, in case you didn't know. A factory will come in, and the entire culture of the town will center around that factory. The high school is going to rename their sports team, in this case, something like the Fairfield Pistons or something like that. Everyone's dad works there, everyone's uncle works there, and shit, even the guidance counselor at the high school works there part-time on the weekends. And then one day it's just poof, corporate email saying that, hey, everyone's going to lose their job, but don't worry, we'll get you on the back end a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years from now. Market conditions is just corporate for, hey, we weren't making as much money as we wanted to, and we can probably make it cheaper somewhere else just so we can kind of improve the margins. Or in this case, we're gonna have an absolute shift because the tariffs that we voted for and the immigration policies have been so wild that other countries are just refusing to do business with us. So in this case, the company that you partnered with from South Korea says, no, bro, we're good. We're gonna go somewhere else, maybe China. So if you are from this town, the question is, what do you do now? What do you do in a place where there's no jobs? In rural America, that's the thing. The cost of living is much cheaper, yes. The homes are much cheaper, yes, but that's because there's no jobs. Factory jobs that come to small towns are usually the best kind of jobs that you're gonna get. But the thing is, they go with the wind. They go with the wind of Wall Street. They go with the winds of DC. They don't go with the wind of the people. But I guess you can pivot to tech or something like that, have a little startup, disrupt unemployment with an app. You can try that. Why not? Of course, most people laid off probably just have a GED at best. No, what I say you should do, I think that you should go to that Dollar General and right next to it, you should open up a little booth where you sell 2028 Trump merch, because that's what the economy is now. It's political merch and despair. I like to picture what that would look like. All the banners for Trump, a couple rebel flags, Confederate flags, don't tread on me flags, selling shirts that say Trump 2028, you can't stop him. And right next to that says former Ford employee with your Cash App number on it. Because that's what it's become. This is the new era of the post-Vietnam America, where you have homeless vets on the street with their signs saying that, hey, they fought in war. Please give me money for food. That's what it is now. It's just poor, except in this case, it's just poor rural Americans who are casualties of the trade war. But it's all just a big cope. But that's the American dream now, right? It's just monetizing cope. Like I said, don't get me wrong. This isn't just rural Kentucky. This has been happening to rural America for decades now. It's just escalating drastically. You got factories shutting down. You got outsourcing. You got automation. And the towns are getting hollowed out to the point where the only businesses that are left are like a Walgreens and a church that also functions as a gun store on Saturday. And the thing is, this is going to be used for political fodder, as it always is. Next election season, some politician's going to be coming through. They're going to stand in front of the closed plant, for a little photo op. And they're going to roll up their sleeves, their blue button-up shirt, like they're about to walk in and do a shift. And they're going to look real emotional, look into the camera and say, we're going to bring jobs back. That's what we're going to do here, because we're for America. We're for the everyman. But then they leave. They leave and they never come back. But what does come back? An opioid epidemic. It always comes back. Oh, reliable in the Appalachians. So what's left to do, really? That's the question. You can cope. You can grieve. You can drink. You can go to the last Mexican food restaurant that's 3 towns over, because Fairfield certainly doesn't have it anymore. No. Not when they're voting for Trump and the numbers that they did. And that Mexican restaurant 3 towns over is holding the region together like it's duct tape. That is sacred ground. That is a place where layoffs are processed emotionally. Listen, I've seen this kind of stuff before because I'm from rural America. Anytime a company shuts down and a bunch of people get laid off, they just start the drinking, right? You go to happy hour, they toss back some Jose Cuervo, they have a couple margaritas, and they start reminiscing about the old days when they were able to work a double shift. And that was the pride of their life. Even though they knew that it was some of the hardest days that they've ever lived, it's ruined their body. They never saw their kids ever actually be able to play a game that they practiced for all year. Never went to a recital or any of that bullshit. They just worked, and that's all they knew. That became their entire identity. Like I said, these towns that revolve around these factories, the factory, it's just like the coal miners in Appalachia, right? Coal mining becomes the identity of an entire region, even though it is slowly destroying the health and the economy and future outlook of the people who live there. But you walk into one of these restaurants where these people get together and they'd be like, Ford? And the sad guy just gives them a nod. They're like, yeah, we understand, we're sorry. And then they hand them a margarita the size of a fishbowl. Restaurants like that have seen things. They know more about trade policy than Congress does. And here's the dark part about it. They're going to vote for the same people again. They'll vote for the same thing again and again and again, because when desperation hits and the collapse happens, most people don't question their beliefs. Most people don't question their faiths. They double down. They'll say, well, hell, it would have been much worse under the Democrats. How? What, the vibes would have been a little bit different? Like, understand the position that you're in. Listen, my brother in Christ, 21% of your town is unemployed. The vibes are post-apocalyptic, and that's what these towns are going to see. But at least the people will be too drunk to actually loot the family tree like it would happen in a more civilized area. But this is how this kind of stuff goes. Anger with no target, pain with no plan. Just vibes and bumper stickers that you probably bought from the stand next to the Dollar General. And it says, we're going to make America greater and greater again in 2028. You're just not getting it. It's fine though. Your town will shut down eventually. And then the land will get bought up by developers. It'll be incorporated and they'll throw up a Walmart. And they'll bring a couple jobs in that way. You know, more fast food slop, more restaurants that you can't afford to go to. And it'll bring in a class of digital nomads and people who can work remotely. And you can serve them, because that's what happens. The gentrification of rural America is a fascinating thing to watch. And the executives are saying, hey, we're going to come back in a couple years and fix things. You think they're suffering right now? No, they're at a golf course somewhere in Scottsdale right now. They're not drowning their sorrows drinking a warm margarita next to an old guy named Dale. They're doing great. You know, they're talking about resilience at a conference at the Marriott. You're asking your neighbors if you can mow their yard for 20 bucks. But in the end, this is America now. It's not a decline, it's just being bled out slowly. One plant at a time, one town at a time. And every time it happens, we act shocked. We say, how can this be happening? But the fact is, it's been happening for about 40 years. So yeah, sell the shirts, drink the margarita, blame whoever the hell you want, because the economy is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The system is working exactly how it was designed. Built Ford tough, laid off easy. If you're still here at this point, like and subscribe, think about becoming a member, all that jazz. Donations, always great. Tell me what you think in the comments section. The fact that so many corporations, I think it's a good idea to do layoffs during the holiday season, mostly so they don't have to pay bonuses. I think it should be criminal. That's why I always say we need more workers' rights in America. We need more unions. We need more unions. We need these unions who are formed to have more power. This happens to happen nationally. If we're going to stop this kind of shit from happening, that abuses the worker, abuses their labor, runs these small towns into the ground, no matter who they voted for. We can say just deserves, but this impacts all of us at the end of the day. So to all you idiots out there in Fairfield, Kentucky, I wish you well. Take care.